What's up, everybody? It's Clark here for the BOS Sports broadcast. Huge night for Atlanta Hawks tonight. As they climb back to 500, they are now 31-31 after a 4-game winning streak. Hawks, they were last at 500. December 21st, they lost to Chicago Bulls. What a tailspin the Hawks took. They went pretty far, under 500 for a while, but Anzi Soleil and the Hawks, they got revamped at the deadline, got more depth. As the Hawks, they were absolutely hammered with the injury bug early on. Kristaps Porzingis, he's now in the Warriors. He was in 13 of those 30 Hawks games. Last they're at 500. And since December has hardly played, hopefully he's okay. Trae Young, he was traded to the Wizards, no longer a Hawk, but he suffered a concerning knee injury early on in the season. He's still rehabbing and out for the Wizards. Hopefully he returns to play for the Hawks. The Wizards. Jonathan Kuminga for the Atlanta Hawks tonight. Huge game, his third game here. Part of that revamped Atlanta Hawks depth that has come back here since the trade deadline. Brilliant job by Anzi Soleil. Jonathan Kuminga, monstrous game tonight. 20 points, 7 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 steals, and 2 highlight slams, including a tribute to the great Dominique Wilkins, Atlanta Hawks legend, with a throwback windmill jam. We'll see that later on today as well. Yang Hansen, he caught the worst of it from Jonathan Kuminga as he absolutely posterized him. Just the next play later there in the fourth quarter, things got a little bit sloppy around the 6-minute mark. Detailed that in my post online. This is Quinn Snyder's motion offense working, as Jonathan Kuminga is fit in seamlessly with this Atlanta Hawks team and is looking like all-star caliber player for this Atlanta Hawks team. Not to be dismissed, Onyeka Okongwu, monstrous double-double tonight. 25 points, 10 rebounds, 6 assists, 2 steals, and a block. As well, he got Donovan Clingan in foul trouble early, a key part to this Atlanta Hawks building an early lead and looking on the rest of the way with a comfortable lead. The Hawks absolutely pressured the Blazers with intensity at key points in this game. Of course, in this broadcast, we look at 3 key stats, whether or not team wins basketball game. That's field goal percentage, rebounding, and turnovers. Hawks front court absolutely ate up in the paint tonight. Hungry Hippos tonight. Another dominant rebounding performance, something we certainly saw lacking in December and January when the Hawks were in tailspin. Jock Landale, he's been magic for the Hawks and certainly been helping Onyeka Okongwu get key rest minutes on the bench. Hawks out-rebounded Portland Trailblazers tonight, 54-38. Field goal percentage, another Hawks win, 55.4% to Trailblazers, 40.2%. Hawks, they gave up 12 quick points early on. We'll get to that later. Hawks defense, they struggled a little bit early on there. A little bit leaky to start that first quarter. Absolutely clamped it the rest of the way. Turnovers. Hawks win again there. A clean sweep of our 3 key categories here today. The 13 turnovers to the Blazers 17. So, aforementioned, the Hawks, they allowed 13 of the Blazers' 25 first quarter points there in the first 4 minutes. Not ideal, but the Hawks, they got together, and from then on, it was easy sailing. Aforementioned, Onyeka Okongwu, he got Donovan Clingan in foul trouble. Very frustrated early on the game. Nearly got technical, nearly got flagrant. Could have escalated to an injection situation, but Tiago Splitter there, Spurs legend, now coach of the Portland Trail Blazers, he got him out of the game, and that helped him stay in and get back in the game later on. But certainly a factor there, getting him out, and the Hawks built a nice lead there, as Hawks led 44-25 after the first quarter. As well, Portland Trail Blazers key players out today. All-star Danny Avdija, and as well Robert Williams still dealing with injuries. Of course, he came over from Celtics a few years ago. Hawks, they actually lost the second quarter there, 33-31, as Donovan Clingan there come in, help put pressure on the Hawks. The Hawks had the halftime lead. The Hawks as well, third quarter, tense action there from the Portland Trail Blazers, as I posted online. wanted the Hawks to come out there with nice intensity that third quarter. They did, and did not let the Portland Trailblazers get back in this game, as they had double-digit lead from there on out. So, not much here to go over other than, of course, aforementioned huge difference here from trade deadline and prior is Atlanta Hawks depth and how much that is impacted. And, of course, we have Braves recap coming up later. We had 2 Braves games today, a double action split header. Excuse me. I'll get those terms right here when we switch back to baseball. Second here, take a quick pause. This is BOS Sports Blogcast. So, key notice here, especially in that second half, Portland Trailblazers truly targeting Jock Landale there on the switch mismatch, guard, screen plays, pick and roll plays. Can't commit to full closeout there on the three-point line there during a guard switch on screens. The Blazers, they took advantage as much as possible as rotation. Of course, they missed quite a few shots there, only shooting 40% on the day. Hawks will have to figure that out with Jock Landale whenever he comes in and gives key minutes there in situations where Onyeka and Koglu will have to sit versus competitive teams, playoff teams like we might see, like the Miami Heat in the play-in, that have great stellar shooting, especially from three-point land. Possibly have a big lineup there, have Mo Gay in with Landale and Rizachet. They've tried that lineup some. That might help a little bit in defensive rotations there, allowing Jock Landale to help a little bit more in closeouts. They have if they can all be solid from three, it might detract a little bit from offense, having all three of them on the floor. But if all Rizachet, Mo Gay, and Jock Landale can be solid from three, and have primary ball handlers such as Jonathan Kuminga make up for some of that speed there, playing with backcourt combination, having a big lineup there. He's been stellar as a primary ball handler. As he's come in off the bench so far, we might see that change a little bit. Who knows? It's interesting and pleasant problems to have. Someone playing off the bench so well, you have to consider starting him for Atlanta Hawks. So CJ McCollum, he came over from the Hawks. He was originally coming off the bench and now is starting. 19 points, 2 rebounds, 5 assists in 26 minutes. He's absolutely had stellar play. Nickeil Alexander-Walker, 15 points, 3 rebounds, 4 assists, a steal, 5 for 9 shooting from the field. As he's starting to pick it up again, a little bit of those Hawks' successes and struggles is how great Nickeil Alexander-Walker was in November. He had a nice November. And although a lot of the numbers are the same in December across the board, average-wise, of course, did not see as many 30-point games from Alexander Walker in November as he did December. But overall, it just felt like his impact quite wasn't as strong some of those games. And he mentioned himself in interviews he wished he played better in some of those situations, if I remember correctly. So right now, that is not the case. Nickeil Alexander-Walker, CJ McCollum, they're both playing stellar. So you have a pleasant plethora of options the Hawks could choose from to solve that previously mentioned Jock Landale closeout situation on his switches on the pick and roll, screen plays. He has to switch and guard a three-point shot from a guard there. Blazers, they certainly tried to take advantage of that, but they struggled hitting them. But succinctly, Dyson Daniels, nice day, 6 for 9 shooting from the field. 12 points, 6 rebounds, 7 assists, 2 steals, 26 minutes. And what we're seeing from this Hawks depth is everyone's coming over, contributing good minutes. Of course, Buddy Hield, he was a DNP, did not play today. Austin Newell, he's still back and forth between the G League up here, hopefully getting some seasoning, as he might be essential depth later on. But did see Caleb Houston minutes, 3 minutes today. No shots. Caleb Houston. I believe I've been pronouncing his name wrong all season. Apologies for that. So Corey Kispert, 8 points, 3 for 5 shooting from today. Came over, trade deadline. He's contributing. Gabe Vincent. I like what he's done for the Hawks. He's been a solid ball handler, as the broadcast noted tonight. Well, he's also upticked his shooting. Been much more solid shooting from three-point land for the Hawks. And so ball handling, shooting, that's a nice combination to have at the one spot. Well, he also had assists today, so a little bit of ball distribution as well. 2 rebounds, limited 6 minutes action, but he did have a nice plus 16 there. So if you are a plus-minus fan, then there you go. You like Gabe Vincent. So for the Hawks. Drew Holiday, he had a throwback performance. 23 points, 6 rebounds, 4 assists. Donovan Clingan, monstrous double-double. 15 points, 15 rebounds, 5 assists. Pete Krejci, he's returned to State Farm Arena tonight. Had a nice tribute. Certainly had many good times with Pete Krejci as a Hawks player, and even have some pictures and video from going to games of Pete Krejci. Might see if I have that queued up down the feed later on there. I don't think I do, but we'll see. As well, earlier this week, of course, I haven't been doing broadcasts after every game. Trae Young, he returned in one of the wins of the Hawks over the Wizards this week. So, of course, a lot of great moments. Trae Young, legend Trae Young, and we'll certainly miss him. Who knows? Maybe he'll come back after his contract expires. Maybe Wizards don't extend him. Picks up his player option and is looking for another contract from a different team than the Wizards after next season. Still possible until we get that Sham Sharani update that Trae Young is a Wizard for the next 8 years or so. Certainly possible. So, as well, don't forget about the expansion franchise drafts. That Trae Young could potentially be involved in that. But I anticipate the NBA to have their expansion drafts and expansion not for next season, but for the season after. And always speculated, I've always reflected the speculation from my buddy Ian from episode. Had him on episode last year, that Trae Young could potentially be face of start a new franchise one day, such as Los Angeles. I've brainstormed names such as Jacks and Aces, both or gambling Las Vegas kind of theme thing. He could play in that new Sphere thing. That'd be pretty great. NBA in the Sphere. That'd probably be best arena in the country. Next All-Star game, 2029, after Trae Young will be an All-Star there. So here, big takes today. Trae Young in the expansion draft, 2 Los Angeles Aces playing in the Sphere for the 2029 NBA All-Star game. To be determined. All right, back here today, Pete Krejci, 14 points, 4 rebounds, 1 assist. Blake Wesley, 12 points, 2 rebounds. Scoot Henderson, 1 points, 2 rebounds. See if we have any more information for other NBA top performers around the league. We see Cade Cunningham there, the ticker, fat double-double, Paulo Banchero, fat double-double. We'll whip around here later, other games in the league. But for now, let's scroll down and take a look at the Braves here and how they're doing. Paulo Banchero, 9 turnovers tonight. Oh! How is that possible? Paulo Banchero, 9 turnovers versus the Detroit Pistons. Ooh, that's some dirty work. Victor Wembanyama, 7 turnovers as well. I have put my files the top turnover makers of every day. Have to keep track. Oh, we'll look at all that stuff in the ticker later on. But here, Braves versus Rays. You had Reynaldo Lopez and Braves split squad action today. Getting that terminology a little bit messed up earlier in today's episode. So Braves, they had a decent day. Fairly nice overall. Versus the Rays today. They also had much of their starting lineup in today. Of course, Ozzie Albies, Ronald Acuna Jr., they're off to the World Baseball Classic. Jurickson Profar as well. Ozzie Albies and Jurickson Profar both playing for Netherlands, who are the main they're from Curacao. I believe it's some kind of territory, Netherlands. Not quite a geography person, but something like that. So I thought it was Team Curacao, but it's Team Netherlands. I had it wrong. So back to today, Reynaldo Lopez. Solid day overall. Braves 5-3 win over the Tampa Bay Rays. Tight game, but we'll take the W any way we can get it. Reynaldo Lopez, solid overall, and said in a review afterwards, key information as he felt healthy. Coming back from shoulder surgery, that can be a major concern as guys simply just getting back to the field. And that's the most important part of what we saw and wanted to hear from him today, as he looked to have nice command overall and had a scoreless outing, looked like he's throwing comfortably, commanding his pitches, coming back from shoulder surgery. That can be another problem as well, as simply just pitches. He was doing that. He had some whiffs on his slider, but varied success on throwing it. Sometimes didn't look quite as sharp and crisp as it did prior to his shoulder surgery. Of course, when he had that first great season with the Braves in 2024, excuse me. So, velocity, the high cheese we've seen from him in the past, his slider and curve were so effective today, he really will only need his low 90s velocity fastball. I think about against about half the league. We saw how effective it was versus Tampa Bay's regulars today, Yandy Diaz and co. And so I feel like Reynaldo Lopez, he looks sharp today. Of course, he's hoping and thinking that velocity will come back along with repetition here building up here over the course of spring training and into the season. But I'm really comfortable with where he's at and providing a lot of quality innings for this Atlanta Braves team in 2026. Hoping for him to last until October and break out his high velo and wipe out slider. Help the Braves back to postseason. That's ideal. A strategy for Reynaldo Lopez. Pitch somewhere between 150 and 200 innings for the Braves. Give him a lot of quality innings, 3 to 4.5 ERA ball. As this Braves offense appears to be a juggernaut, winning a lot of games. So Reynaldo Lopez can keep throwing that fastball at a comfortable velocity as well. Rely on a slider and curveball. Curveball looked very sharp today. Slider, big success today, but he had some small samples of some high success. So get to that in a little bit with his final line here. Today was a story of struggle and success for the Braves bats. Hopefully good learning. Braves were no match for Drew Rasmussen's cutter. Of course, Poston mentioned today he came back last season from the UCL brace surgery, same surgery as Spencer Strider had. And today he threw 3 scoreless innings versus the Braves with no hits, 1 strikeout, a lot of contact outs for Drew Rasmussen as well. Braves could not square up that cutter. Austin Riley eventually homered on a cutter, noted in the game off of Braves pitcher Cole Sulzer, who's a solid pitcher overall, at least last season. For the Rays, limited action, but his cutter absolutely got clobbered last season. Only a 17% whiff rate from opponents and 81 pitches thrown. Relatively small sample size. Opponents' hitters off of Cole Sulser last year hit .471 with a .706 slug. Good news is Austin Riley is doing what he's supposed to, hitting ineffective pitches and then landing outside of the yard. So Austin Riley, only 5 pitches so far in this early spring training, first week of spring training. They're playing about every other day now. Might ramp that up a little bit here going forward. Also only going about 5. Today we saw him go longer in the game, 6-7 innings. So he is slugging a fat .1333 with a 33 average. After the home run today, 50% whiff rate on the cutter. A little bit of mixed results there for Austin Riley early as spring training. So Austin Riley in 2025 versus the cutter, he slugged .567 and 105 pitches seen. Of course, he went out with the hernia surgery. After that game, the Motor Speedway game, he dived for a ball, and they put some kind of rock gravel under the turf there in that prop-up stadium for the Speedway game there, the Motor Speedway game, MLB Speedway Classic, I think they called it. And I think that shell probably hurt him, probably that rock under there. And he had to have hernia surgery in the off season. But last season, good numbers versus the cutter. We've seen Austin Riley certainly bounce back pretty good so far this season. So this early as spring training, shown a lot of signs of promise, things to be hopeful for. He certainly has shown solid defense at third base. It was one of the primary concerns that we had coming off that hernia surgery. Of course, Dansby Swanson seemed like it took him months to get right last season after having it, I believe, in February. So Michael Harris second, again whiffed on a splitter today. Strikeout, posted on X earlier some information from upcoming MLB Cruncher app, BOS Sports new app. Probably won't be public for months, and probably be behind a paywall as well, to be honest. It's a pretty advanced app, and what it does is it crunches several numbers at a time, and I'll explain it more later. But today showed some data, Michael Harris and his success rate versus splitter, and it's trending in a nice direction. And his whiff rates, average was a little bit different there in 2025 and a larger sample size versus that pitch. But it's been well noted the Braves struggle against 12-6 movement, both on breaking and off speed and change-ups. And that continued a little bit today. Matt Olson, Michael Harris with his strikeout, a foul tip, a splitter from Drew Rasmussen. Drew Rasmussen, he's mixing his pitches well today. So, aforementioned was Dave's successes as well as Michael Harris. Later in the game, squared up a fastball, 95-mile-per-hour fastball off Trevor Martin. Pitch was right in Michael Harris' second's wheelhouse, middle and a little bit down, and probably was a miss there by Martin. Probably not exactly where he wanted to put it, but no frills, didn't get too big trying to hit the ball, squared it up, put right in the center field. Nice hit, nice approach. Michael Harris got the job done, 2 RBIs, and that was the difference in the game, 5-3. So that he did the job. And early on spring, Michael Harris absolutely been mashing the fastball, as he has a 714 average, 857 slugging percentage, and 7 at bats, 19 pitches seen. The nice numbers versus the fastball so far for Michael Harris, and 7 at bats versus the fastball. 19 pitches. Last year versus the fastball was one of his better pitches to hit. One he had no success on, probably. 442 slugging percentage, 240 average, 593 pitches seen, only 14% lift rate. Hard to get that fastball, Michael Harris II. 7 home runs. So, stat lines today. Michael Harris 1 for 3, 2 RBIs. Matt Olson 0 for 3, struggled day. Drew Rasmussen had his number. Matt Olson 1 for 3, a solo home run. Mike Yastrzemski has the magic run worn off. Did he have a Speedy Craig Claxton run for the Braves? To be determined. 0 for 2 today with a walk. Reynaldo Lopez, 3 innings pitched, 1 hit, 1 walk, 3 Ks. Tyler Kinley, earned run, I believe off home run. Dylan Lee, clean outing. Dylan Dodd really struggled today. Concerning sinker was a little bit lower velocity. Who knows who there might be working on some stuff. Might be fatigued from working out. Something to look out for. It touched 96 the other day. Today it sat around 94. Not really most of the struggles. A lot of it was location. Although guy did square up a pitch that was above the zone. Seemed a little bit odd. Dylan Dodd, 2 earned runs, 4 hits, no walks. A little bit of silver lining there. 2 Ks as well. 2 innings pitched. Well, looked like he was working in his cutter there. Trying to work on that some. Not very successful there, but certainly working on it. So, might be a huge factor here for the Braves in the bullpen. Dylan Dodd have, in just a minute here, Braves pitching summary. Of course, Major League season, 162 games slated. That stands as 1,458 innings total for 9-inning games. And, of course, there's going to be overtime innings. I gave it a conservative estimate of 1,476 for 2026 for the Braves. So break down that here in a second. Take a quick break. This is BOS Sports Blogcast. We still have play of the game here to go for Hawks, Blazers. We'll do that here at the end of the episode. So aforementioned 1458 base innings, conservatively estimate 8 extra innings. Probably going to be more than that, probably more like 20 or so. So 1476 estimated innings. Chris Sale, and what we're going to do here is we're going to go and give a rundown, give honest review of what I think these Braves pitchers can give to this Braves team in 2026 and how they can match out all their innings for this season and not go through a ton of pitchers. They probably still will. Outliers, there'll be injuries. I factored in some room for injuries here, but not a whole bunch. Not a season's worth. Hopefully no one goes down in April like we had last Tuesday. So, Chris Sale, solid ace. 15 to 20 wins, I think. He goes deep enough for a bullpen to get some rest, and as well not have huge blow-ups to where he does not achieve 15 to 20. Would be the main hindrance towards him reaching a 20-win total. Would be the bullpen. Certainly has holes. We'll get to that a little bit. I really feel like you probably have 2 high leverage guys. You have Raisel Iglesias and Robert Suarez. And after that, not one high leverage lefty is pretty scary. Hoping Dylan Dodd could be that, but shown today, quite a hopeful thing. But maybe he can get back together as he looked really strong his first outings. Chris Sale hoping for 180 innings season. Don't push him too far. Keep him healthy for playoffs, but 180 innings still be nice and really help out this Braves. Eventually even win the division. Here it's a little bit weak in the NL East. Spencer Strider. I think he looked fairly solid the other day. Some struggles. High 3 ERA to 4 ERA. But I think still an innings eater for the Braves effectively this season and an over 500 game winner. 12 to 15 winning. Deep enough personal not to tax the pen. Spencer Strider's really been working on his pitch repertoire, and it looked pretty nice the other day. So, Reynaldo Lopez, who we saw today, innings eater. 3, I think Oswald, just like Spencer Strider, a high 3 to 4 ERA. Near 500, a little bit better. Often have starts not deep enough, and will tax a very thin Braves bullpen. As we saw even in his great season 2024, 160 innings would be brilliant from Reynaldo Lopez. Still keep him fresh for the playoffs. Grant Holmes, same as Reynaldo Lopez. Boy, it was scary hearing C.J. Nikowski and I believe Brandon Gaudin, or maybe Wiley Ballard, I can't remember, announcer. Talking about Grant Holmes and pitching on a partially torn UCL. Oh, Twilight Zone pitching edition. So Grant Holmes, I think, as far as performance-wise, similar to Reynaldo Lopez, looking 3 to 4 ERA zone. Slightly more often starts not deep enough to cover the game as we saw last season. Tax the bullpen a little bit more. Have more blow-up losses, probably under 500 record. But I think we'll have some shining moments for the Braves, such as he had last year. Hoping for 100 innings from him. That'd be nice. Maybe we'll get more. So, J.R. Ritchie, Braves prospect. I think with Bryce Elder being out of options, Braves have to do something. They'll have to play their hand and put J.R. Ritchie in the opening day roster, which would be quite a jump for him. He's had some AAA experience last season. Has looked solid overall in the spring training outings, although with some concern. Metrics people certainly like him, so we'll see how that works out. But I think overall, I think he'll be a solid 3 ERA guy for the Braves in 2026 as far as what he's capable of. 3 to 4 ERA and a solid 5 inning guy. I don't think experienced enough quite to be going heavily deep into games, but who knows, he might surprise us. Really be nice if he could start out in the minor leagues, have the first couple of months in the minor leagues, enjoying the Braves in May, but that's really just not realistic unless you want to have Carlos Carrasco in the opening day roster, have Bryce Elder in the opening day roster, and then eventually have to waive him or trade him for cash considerations. Something some Braves fans certainly fantasize about. Bryce Elder, moving on to him, 5 to 6 ERA guy. He won't completely blow up the game all the time. He'll keep the Braves in the game, and I believe be an effective innings eater for the Braves. I believe you could count on him for 150 innings or so and last long in the game. They'll certainly need him at certain points. So Joey Wentz, I think also is going to be a 5-ish ERA guy, but with some nice moments, kind of like Grant Holmes. Certainly that was about his ERA last season and what he did. Some nice moments. 150 innings. I think he can certainly stay healthy and eat some innings for this Braves team. Be a high innings guy for them. And certainly they'll use him as starter opener as they did last season. Be forced to have any other option. Yeah, keep the rotation healthy. Didier Fuentes, he's not in spring training, major league spring training camp, but he could still be ready for the Braves by early May or June and be a factor for the Braves. If they help keep him down the first couple months, I'll keep his service time low and keep down the number of options they potentially use him for. So season him up there in the minor leagues, get him ready, and might make an impact later this season. 4.5 ERA, 60 innings I give Didier Fuentes. Decent production. So Garrett Bauman, not ready for MLB quite yet. Had a solid spring, solid showing so far, and pitch metrics, people like him as well. But I believe, kind of like Fuentes, he's going to benefit from a couple months in the minors. Of course, we saw Spencer Schwellenbach, just like Spencer Strider, have huge rises from the minor league to break into the major league camp. And really, for the Braves, neither of them were invited to spring training as a non-roster invite, such as Garrett Bauman had. That speaks to how much confidence the Braves have in Bauman's capabilities. I think ideally you'd like to have more seasoning. Well, Braves would like to keep service time low, potentially be a productive pitcher for them for long. 25 innings pitched, 4.5 ERA. I think about 5 starts, maybe a blow up or 2 here and there, a couple nice ones, 5, 6, where they don't overly tax him. As a rookie pitcher, he'd be coming in debut. So tracked about 50 innings for unpredictable injuries. That happens from that total. And start moving on here to relievers. Start building towards our inning totals. I wrote down 870. That is not the correct number of innings. As I added Bauman and Fuentes. I'm not sure, though. Otherwise, it'd give an updated total. But for now, I'll just say 870 innings. Out the innings total from the starting pitchers. Not quite ideal. Probably want them to be closer to 900 or 1,000. But that's where we are with the state of the Braves rotation. Guys, probably not going to last all season. Not many 200 innings pitchers. Probably only one, Chris Sale. Really want to push. No, not Sale. 200 innings. Do we have this? Did I put single 200 innings? No, I didn't. 180. Not a single 200 innings starting pitcher. So the Braves will have to use quite a bit of depth. Hopefully not as much as last year. But I think overall, have things to be fairly confident and hopeful that they'll innings productive for the Braves. Or it could go completely the other way. Braves disaster season. What would that look like? Injuries, guys not performing. Oh. Maybe. Let's move on to the bullpen. Martin Perez, 5-9 ERA. I don't see him sticking with the Braves, but still could see him giving 20 innings. Gotta get those innings somehow. Raisel Iglesias. Gotta take a quick break here. BOS Sports Blogcast. Continuing on with our Braves pitcher building innings for the season, getting to 1476 or higher. I did get a higher total than that. That'll count for some extra innings there for the Braves, more than 8 innings. So, in the 1476 total. Dylan Lee, I think about 16 innings pitched, 3.5 ERA. Raisel Iglesias, high leverage option. Might have some struggles, though. I think about 3 ERA, 70 innings pitched. Robert Suarez, 70 innings pitched. I think he'll have a nice inning season here for the Braves. He looked really stellar. A lot of those command issues, that 70 mile per hour off-speed pitch, really looking nice the other day. 70 innings pitched, 3 ERA, 2.5 ERA, under 3 ERA, be stellar for a reliever. Tyler Kinley, I think he can give 70 innings as well. Looking about 4.5 ERA, I think he'll have some blips. Joel Pampas, 20 innings pitched. Don't really see him contributing much, but who knows? Some of these guys certainly flip a switch and go full Tyler Matzik. At least that's what Alex Anthopoulos is. So, Aaron Bummer, 60 innings pitched, 4 ERA. Daysbel Hernandez, 40 innings pitched. Dylan Dodd, 60 innings pitched. I think he'll bounce back, be a 4.5 ERA guy, solid reliever. So, Anderson Pilar, 20 innings pitched, 5 ERA. Ray Kerr coming back from surgery, 50 innings pitched, 3.5 ERA. He looked sharp the other day. Anthony Molina, don't see him working out. 10 innings pitched. I gave him a 10 ERA. James Karinchuk, I see him going on a speedy Craig Claxton run. Having some nice moments for the Braves, breaking the opening day roster, looking sharp for a couple weeks and then dropping off. 20 innings pitched, 6.5 ERA. DFA by May. Danny Young, 25 innings pitched, 5 ERA. So that's 1,530 innings from there. And we haven't mentioned other pitchers to watch out for Atlanta Braves, such as Roldy Munoz. Hunter Stratton, who's really struggled this spring training, but he's on a minor league contract, so eventually still be depth later and just eat some innings or so. Hayden Harris, he's got some struggles with his stuff. Had some nice outings here, being here with the major league camp so far in spring training. Some analytics people really like him, but potential lookout there later on in the season. Probably not an opening day roster candidate. So Ron Carlos Lara, he's always had that high velocity. Can he ever be effective with that? Will he ever be a factor for the Braves at the major league level? A lot of questions there, but potentially an arm to look out for. Lucas Braun as well. Blake Berhalter down there in the starting pitching depth there in AAA. Lucas Braun, liked by some podcasters to be effective this season. We'll see how that goes. So the Braves, they had another game today. Before we get to our play of the game and wrap things out here, play of the day. Of course, Jonathan Kuminga for Atlanta Hawks. 2 monster slam dunk. Braves played another game today. 2-2 versus Minnesota Twins. Split squad action here for Atlanta Braves today. Not a split squad doubleheader. They both played at the same time today. And they went to extra innings, but they did not finish the game with a decision as ended in a tie, 2-2. Not had a chance to watch the game yet, so just reading the box score here, giving initial actions. Jorge Mateo, 0 for 3 today. That's concerning. Potential opening day roster candidate there off the bench. He might need to provide some at-bats at some point for the Braves here early on, with Ha-Seong Kim injured. Potential DFA candidate for when Ha-Seong Kim comes back, too. Grant Holmes, 2.2 innings pitched, 1 hit, 0 earned run, 1 walk, 2 Ks. About what we'd expect for Grant Holmes early on the first time and a half through the order. Garrett Bauman, 3-hit day, 2 earned runs, 4 Ks. He hasn't been cut from Major League Camp today. He survived days, first waves, but could see him cut from Major League Camp pretty early on here. Maybe they'll give him one little more look. Maybe not. Ian Mejia, he's further down there, below Juan Carlos Lara, another prospect. I believe he's not gone higher than AA. Another name to potentially look out for. He's had some interesting stuff there for the Braves. And scoreless day to day, no strikeouts. But interesting showing. Hayden Harris talked about earlier, 3 strikeouts with a walk. Good goodness. What a day for Hayden Harris, of course. We talked about his jam. I posted about his jam. Him and Jonah Heim got out of a jam. Is that already a week ago in last week's blogcast? Ugh. Anyways, those interesting arms for the Braves. And a couple other guys, Riley Frey, Austin Pope, Lane Inlow. Other games today around MLB. Got Braves, Orioles, Red Sox, 8-4, 8-7. Not much stat data from there. Got to get my app a little bit better. Get some stats from the game. It's here in the ticker. See, we got Kings Lakers live game. Kings tanking down the Lakers. Luka Doncic 28 points. LeBron James 24 points. They're feasting on that Kings team. Ooh. Nate Clifford 22 points. Russell Westbrook 4 turnovers. Spurs Knicks. Victor Wembanyama, I think he had like 7 turnovers today. Should be in the stat line here. He had a monstrous double-double, 25-13. Miles Bridges, 25 points. Jalen Brunson, 24 points. Karl Anthony Towns, double-double. A little bit slim on the points for him. No turnover total. Cavaliers, Nets, 102-106. Michael Porter Jr. continues working hard. I don't think this is his contract year, is it? Might be. Trying to up his trade value and go somewhere other than the Nets. Danny Wolf, 23 points. Ooh. He coming along. James Harden. I forgot he's on the Cavs. Traded at the deadline. A little bit of a surprise move. Bulls. They get back on track. The Bucks are probably tanking again. Bulls, they look so good there in December. Of course, they had a very sloppy November. Then a season of up and downs in the NBA. Certainly for the Atlanta Hawks. Glad to have them back on track. Back to 500. Next game is Wednesday versus the Bucks. Away game, I believe 9:30 p.m. Eastern start time. Timberwolves Nuggets. Timberwolves interesting team. They added some depth there at the trade deadline. And they beat any of the contenders, Spurs, Thunder in the West. 7-game series. Anthony Edwards, 21 points. You get him on the Hawks one day. We've got Jonathan Kuminga now. Speaking of Jonathan Kuminga, we got to get to our play of the game. Here we go. Jonathan Kuminga. Shades of Dominique Wilkins with the tribute dunk. Here it is in slow motion. Slammer jammer, Jonathan Kuminga hammer. Yang Hansen. Oh no. And here comes the Hawks bench. They're going, yup. 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 And here we see Hank Hansen. He goes, nope. Gets out of the way there. Jonathan Kuminga slam dunk. All right. Ooh. Accidentally pressed the wrong button there. All right. Well, it is just closing out here. This has been the 80th episode of the BOS Sports Blogcast. Be sure to stream previous episodes of the BOS Sports Blogcast. Be back sometime soon. Hopefully next Sunday.